Solutions Review presents the Insight Jam Expert Keynote.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it is, wherever you are, welcome. My name is Ann Murphy, and I am delighted to be here with you and also grateful for your pouring into your own knowledge and education and just continuous improvement when it comes to our AI era, the jagged frontier. We're all on this adventure together. So thank you for being here. I've been in the AI world since a couple of days after after ChatGPT launched, in part because at the time I had long COVID. And here I was supposed to launch a business. I was supposed to be doing all these things, and my brain wasn't working. So I launched into my relationship with AI as an absolute co-pilot from jump. And my approach was to first educate people, then to start doing consulting. And now I also have a couple of platforms, a community, a podcast, etc. I would love it if you connect with me on LinkedIn on the QR code right there. Be delighted to connect with you and share and continue the conversation. I'm the founder of She Leads AI, which is a global organization. We unite accomplished women to advance AI for global prosperity. And I'll share a little bit more about that later. So let's dive in. I'm talking today about the care architecture of AI. And I'm presenting kind of a one-sided point of view. In my real life with my clients, I present both points of view. But today I felt it was important to really take a deep dive into some of the ethical concerns that we have and how women's go-to leadership styles will help in this face-meltingly, ever-changing, confrontational time. So I'm looking forward to sharing more with you about that. You may or may not know Joy Buolamwini. She is a researcher of algorithmic bias and an inspiration to me. I learned from Joy's research about some of the additional issues with algorithmic bias and went on to be much more involved in pushing back against that and identifying ways that that bias can be mitigated for particularly women, but also other marginalized groups. So she says, if you have a face, you have a place in this conversation. This is, agnostic of whether you are totally pro AI, if you're cautiously optimistic, if you are a total skeptic, doesn't matter what gender you are. If you have a face, you have a place in this conversation. So thank you for being here. I wanted to share with you, this will be in the deck, and this is just a pause for all of us. This is an opportunity to do some reflecting on our personal code of ethics. So you have about 8 steps here when you get into the document, a moment for you to reflect on, how do I identify bias? What is my agreement with my clients around how I use AI? What's my red line, things that I will do and things that I won't do with AI? So I recommend taking the time to develop your personal code of AI ethics. You'll be able to use that with vendors, with clients, with your community as you move forward and people are interested in learning from you how you navigate the AI ethics. So that'll be available to you. So here's a quote about all the promise that AI holds for us. And who wouldn't want this, right? More potential than any modern technology to increase human productivity, quality of life, accelerate economic growth, unlock progress in medical and scientific research. These are all fantastic things, and how could anyone say no to any of them? However, it's important to consider in what I refer to as the both and era, that yes, a quote like this is very inspiring. And also, it comes from Mark Zuckerberg. Now, fairly recently, it was uncovered that Meta has policies indicating that it is a-okay for chatbots to speak to children in sensual and romantic language. I don't think there's a person among us who would think that that's okay. So it's important to consider all of the positive things in the realm, in the context of the companies that are leading the charge here and the individuals that are leading the charge. And this is one of the examples of where women's leadership and women's caregiving really comes to the fore. And it's not that all genders aren't compassionate and all genders don't create psychological safety. It's that this is women's go-to leadership style, right? This is our matriarchal, the way we show up as matriarchs in the world. This is also because we've had lots of experience with being in the shadows. And now this is our moment, right? We've got a lot of pent up energy and longing to be in leadership roles. And now is a time where everything is so disrupted, we can move into those leadership roles. So I wanted to share this as an example of that both and era. Now, again, considering all of the wonder of AI in the context of particularly our political environment, as well as the trends that we have experienced in tech, this mantra of move fast and break things, it may have been a-okay before generative AI hit the scene in the way it is now. Move fast and break things was, fun and adventurous and get things out there into the world. And one of the things that all of us have experienced as a result of move fast and break things is that we are the R&D department for many of these organizations. So we work with these models. We help them refine them. They go back and they fix them. So it's, again, an example of the both and era where, yes, there's a lot to be said for move fast and break things, but also we know that in that process of moving fast and breaking things, there are a lot of important voices who are not at the table. So taking a pause and wondering, right, why are 95% of AI projects failing in corporate America? It's not because of the technology. It's because of the humans. It's a leadership problem. There's a lack of understanding and sophistication in the policies that will help be guardrails as we roll out some of this very important technology. Another example of that is Elon Musk. So Elon Musk's goal, right, is to accelerate. And when he launched Grok, it was without any guardrails. And for a lot of people, that was great, right? You can go ahead and you can talk about things that you wouldn't otherwise be able to talk about. But also, Grok engages with children in ways that, again, I don't think any of us would want our children to be saying some of the things that they're saying and hearing the AI indicate that they are, worthless and this slur and that slur. So we need to be really cautious, in my opinion, about how we're rolling out some of these technologies. And what's encouraging to me and to the women I work with is that initially there was this narrative that women weren't adopting AI at the same rate as men were. And these narratives are unhelpful to women's advancement. But here we can see that, yes, women held back because we don't have the same innate trust in technology that men do, right? We held back. We watched how things evolved. Men started at a high usage rate. This is based on a study by OpenAI and Stanford. Men's usage declined, right? So in March of 2025, women surpassed men in their uses of ChatGPT. I think it's an important statistic for us to understand. We women are spending a lot of time on the front lines as AI practitioners. One of the things that's interesting about this statistic is that 78% of the women users are working mothers. So we see how AI helps women navigate their first shift and their second shift. So they're using AI probably at work, potentially as secret cyborgs, and they're using it at home to help with their parenting, help with managing the household. And one thing we know is that women carry the vast majority of household duties and unpaid labor. So this is an example of how AI can really help women with some of the things that have historically been part of our overall portfolio for our lives. A couple of examples of how women can lead in this space is the post-labor economy is going to give us likely time that we have to figure out what to do with. Familial responsibilities, relationships, culture is going to change. Women's roles will be absolutely aligned with all of us determining what exactly is it that we're going to do with this time? Who are we now? Right? If my worth is not based on my productivity, or if I'm a screenwriter and all of a sudden ChatGPT can do almost as good of a job imagining and then writing like I do, who am I? In addition to that, women can lead corporate governance. So this is an opportunity for women to raise their hand. Oftentimes, they are subject matter experts in their field. They are already respected by their colleagues. They add AI to their portfolio. They say, I want to lead the charge on that. And they're able to manage the vast amount of the vast challenges that go along with the change management of what's much more than a tech rollout. And then additionally, when we all have our personal AI policy, and that's for all of us, that helps us guide our organizations toward an ethical framework as well. One of the things that's interesting as we move into this era is considering the emotional labor for women. And one of the things that we spend some time pondering is, have women become the social workers of AI? Is responsible AI becoming the women's work of the AI era? And how do we feel about that? We've been here before in history, from fighting child labor laws during the Industrial Revolution, inventing the fire escape, for example. Women have a history of mitigating risk in systems where they held little formal power. And here we are again. So the question is this the role we should be playing, right? Consider, is this where we want women pouring into our ecosystem? The answer may be yes. The answer may be no. I personally don't know I don't know what the right answer is, and there may not be one. I wanted to share this poem that is inspired by an author, may not be completely written by her. It's one of those things that's been attributed a number of times, but I want to just position what has been a very common dynamic, but that kind of rhymes with this role of women as caregivers, women as the shepherds of responsible AI. So, when all is said and done, everything has been weighed, assessed, and resolved. the hands have been shaken, the solemnity of the moment, there is always a woman who comes in to clear the table, sweep the floor, and open the windows and let the cigar smoke out. Is this where we are today? Are we cleaning up after what, are we cleaning up from the decisions that are made about us, without us? Important to consider. This will be in the deck. This is a Notebook LM. Gosh, if you haven't played with Notebook LM, you must. This is one of their infographics. It just kind of visually indicates, are we repeating in history? Is this the kind of corner that we're finding ourselves in? But is it also necessary for us to rise in the ranks of AI professional women? So here's a strategic framework for the new architects: resilient systems. So this means before we are launching technology out into the world, we are building systems that allow us to care for those whose voices have historically been pushed out of the conversation. We believe that AI is absolutely humans first, tech second. We should be leading with our authentic values. And it's entirely possible that everyone is leading with authentic values, their authentic values. But what we know is that this crowds out some of our most marginalized voices at a time when we most need their presence. Women are historically very good at establishing psychological safety. That's important because we're in a time where it's very difficult and risky for employees in particular to share their opinion on AI, whether they're a skeptic or a fan or somewhere in the middle. Without psychological safety, it cannot be talked about safely. They may be worried that there will be retribution, that their job is even more threatened, because a lot of employees are of the understanding that their jobs are threatened. And certainly we see all these memos from CEOs saying exactly that: use AI or else. And pioneering AI-driven entrepreneurship. This is a fantastic opportunity for women to pivot into entrepreneurship. Many, many, many women are losing their jobs to begin with. They may or may not have entrepreneurial skills. This is an opportunity for them to pivot and lean into that and become independent with unlimited earning potential versus when they were an employee and it was capped. I get to spend a lot of my time with women who are repotting themselves, and it is a very exciting moment. I wanted to give you an example of how this plays out in reality. So in She Leads AI, as I mentioned, our mission is to unite accomplished women to advance AI for global prosperity. And we believe that AI can advance equity and social responsibility. It would be a different conversation with women at the helm. It would be a different world. We look toward building a future we all want to be part of. And there are many organizations like She Leads AI where women are doing the work. They are showing up with our elected officials, our school boards, our own kids, and outlining how we can use AI responsibly. I taught 4,000 individuals how to use responsible AI before I did another thing in my AI career. What I learned was that I was educating people who were then going back to their organizations that didn't have any governance structures. So then I started getting involved with governance. And this is kind of the path that our women take. They join into our ecosystem and they grow into higher and higher level goals where they're spending time in more rooms that we historically have not been included. So as I said, we're architecting resilient systems. And one of the things I mean by this is that we are focused on operations first. So we don't launch and right off the bat. We look at what's the impact of this technology. And to give just one example, I'll share something that has become pretty ubiquitous. Imagine, if you haven't yet, introducing an AI recorder into your organization. All of a sudden, we're all using AI recorders on our calls. Cool. However, there may have been someone who was in charge of kind of being the glue between meetings, taking notes, getting feedback from people. That was their job. It probably brought them a sense of belonging, of clout. They knew more about what was going on in the organization. And now we're saying, you know what? We don't need you. We don't need you doing that. So then what do? Are they repotted into another role in the organization? Are they without a job? Are they unsatisfied with the job that they have now? It's an example of it's just this easy thing that people integrate without thinking about the impact on humans. So achieve 60% margins through systemic automation. That could be a really great goal. But first, we focus on the impact on the people. Architecting human-centered ecosystems. Like so many things in AI, this is a mindset. Women are coming to the table with that mindset already underway. And that can be a very infectious point of view. We're bringing other people along with us. We're talking about how AI amplifies existing culture and whether that's good or bad. I always say this is an opportunity to break what's already broken. Now we get to look at some of the systems that haven't been working potentially for decades, right? Top-down leadership, not working anymore. We're going to need to address that during an AI rollout, right? Annual things that we do. How are we actually doing our performance evaluations? What's the impact if we involve AI in that? AI in hiring. I have no idea how that is going to resolve itself right now. It is so utterly broken. So AI amplifying existing culture it has potential to be a good thing. It also has potential to really be, to just further reinforce some of the processes that are not helpful to people who are traditionally marginalized. Landing the plane here, we believe that the future is led by women. This is the most transformative era of our lives. Decisions that we make right now will affect generations. Having women at the fore with our go-to leadership style is going to protect the people whose voices have been marginalized since the beginning of time, seemingly. The future is built by our own values and the robustness of the care architecture. For all of us, the buck stops with us, right? The cavalry is not coming. Our own personal AI policy is where we can make the biggest difference. And I encourage you to, go through the personal AI policy framework that I've shared. And please do connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm in my DMs constantly. I can serve as your personal help desk if that's the kind of support you need. I'm always interested in setting up a coffee date over Zoom and having these conversations together, because this is an example of it absolutely takes a village. Again, thank you so much for being here and pouring into your own knowledge about the AI era. Again, my name is Ann Murphy. I'm the founder and CEO of She Leads AI, and I hope that you will be in touch.
For video highlights, replays, and more, visit insightjam.com.